Hello and welcome to In Stitches. If you're lucky enough to own a Bernina 950 like this one, this is the industrial model, or a Bernina 830 or 930 and the like, and you've got this issue here, I'll get you in close, where the needle hits the presser foot here, and you can see this problem here, see, with the needle hitting the presser foot. Well, this might be the video for you because I've got the fix for this, and it's a reasonably common issue. I see it a little bit from time to time. Now, just one thing to note is the zigzag here, the zigzag dial I've got on the very right hand of its throw. It won't go any further. That's another one of the symptoms. And when it's at the very right hand throw there, you've got the problem with the needle hitting the foot. When it's in the zero position, you'll see that it is actually aligned here, okay? And you may also find that if that centralization lever is off to the right there, that the needle will be off to the right there. The other thing that you may notice as well is this lever doesn't feel right. It's a little bit too floppy and doesn't do anything. So that's another indication that you've got this issue. There can be other reasons why the needle will be outside of its boundary here and not going down in the hole properly, but this is probably the most common cause. Okay, so it's a reasonably easy fix. It's caused by generally lack of maintenance, and I'll show you how to fix the issue. This is an industrial type machine. I've got it out of the bench. As you can see, it comes on an industrial table with a motor mounted underneath there. Yeah, really nice machines, these. Sort of what I would call semi-industrial. You know, they're not quite as strong as a full-on industrial machine, but pretty close to it. And the advantage over a full industrial is that with the full industrial, generally they're designed for one job and one job only, and that's straight stitch if it's a straight stitch machine. And you can see with this one here, you've got more than just straight stitch available here. We've got all the different pattern stitches available as well. So pretty handy. Buttonholes also, so a very versatile industrial machine. Close look at the presser foot here. You can actually see, you might be able to see there, needle strikes just on the right hand side of the slot there, you know, and so what's happened there is I'd say the needles come down on that, and at the time, if the machine was under power, probably would have snapped the needle. So to remove the top of the Bernina Industrial 950, we do a quarter turn either anti-clockwise or clockwise on the screw that's down the middle of the bobbin winder pretensioner, and that releases that screw. And then the same for this screw here, like that, and now the top can be lifted off, just like that. Suspect we've got an issue down in this area here, and I know that because I had a little peek before I started recording. For people that are familiar with these machines, you'll see that this here is out of whack, and this here is the selector which selects between. I'll explain how this works here. So on the top we've got a slot here for a lever, that's this lever here, and another slot here for a lever, which is this lever here. Now this one on the left here, the indicator sits in this slot here. So this lever here selects the different stitches, and the right hand lever, that one, comes through here, selects whether you get straight and zigzag, which is 0, just this here, and if you flip that lever up to 1 to 20, this lever, you get these stitches 1 through 20, okay? And it is actually the right hand lever that is, the lever is not the cause of the problem, it's the mechanism that the lever engages with here. That's all I can get out of it, okay? and you can see the needle moving way past its normal position there. So not good. So this is our right hand lever here. We'll just ignore this lever here in the meantime. This is the one that selects between the 0 and the 1 to 20 options. Okay, and you'll see when I move that, there's this little engaging bar here which should engage with this little linkage, and you'll see how it works in a second. But this linkage here is just miles too far to the right. You just see it's come outside of its normal travel. And if we just push this back into place, it's actually popped back into place here. And you can see that the way this lever works here, so we're on the 1 to 20 range. And if I flip this back here, that's on the 0 selection. And that's the way it works here, is there's little forks here. They're being driven by the cams. So the cams 1 to 20 is driving this little fork here. And that's the 1 to 20 stitches available on this left lever here with all the different patterns on it. And that's the one that's affecting this one. You can see it moving there. Okay, so that is when it's engaged like that. But if we come back to this one, that engages with the just the straight and the or the zigzag cam. You know, that's the way it should work, just like that. So we're zigzagging here at the moment, like that. And if we select one of these cams here, say the tri-stitch, that one there, and we select this one, and you'll see that it hasn't quite popped into position. And that's quite a common problem because sometimes it's just a matter of lubricating this here. And of course, if it's at that stage where this needs lubrication, generally everything else needs lubricating as well. So really just caused by lack of maintenance. And so you can just give that a little help like that, and you'll see we're in 3-step zigzag. So we've got 1 step, 2, 3, and then change direction, 1, 2, 3. So you can see how it selects between the two there. If you give it a good push with a bit of momentum, it will flick across. But if you do it slowly, you'll see it doesn't quite get there. It's not engaged. I've seen sometimes where this here is almost completely seized up. It takes quite a lot of oil. But we can sort that issue there just with a little bit of oil here. I get it down the sides there. Just give it a good bit of oil there, and let it soak in. And you can see now, even if I go quite slowly, it's still jamming there. Give it a little bit more. Just exercise that part there. Still doing it. So what's happened here is that because this is not flipping properly, it hasn't quite flipped to there. If I go slowly, it should never stay in that middle position like that. It should always flip either one way or the other, not halfway between. If it's allowed to go halfway between, you can see that can pop out of position, and that's exactly what's happened. This here has just flopped over, and then, you know, this does nothing, and that's why our needle's colliding with the right hand side of the plate there, or the feed dog in this case. And it's really just a matter of flipping that back like that. And if we just make sure that this always flips one way or the other, you can see I'm doing that quite slowly there now. It's still not quite, but I mean, I'm doing that extremely slowly. If you do it in just a normal flip of this lever, it's not going to seize or, you know, not complete its travel. There, that's done it again. But again, I was being very gentle with it. So I'll just exercise that a little bit more. Still, if you do it extremely slowly, there's still a possibility it'll stick. But I mean, who would ever switch the lever this slowly? And as that oil works in, it'll become, I'd say, impossible to get it to jam in the middle there. There, I can leave it there, but if I take the lever to its full travel, yep, it's stuck there again. If I give it a little hand, it flips in. But normal operation, I mean, if you're normally hitting this lever, it's definitely positively engaging there. As the oil works in, I'm sure that this will just automatically flip like that. So I'll exercise that more and make sure that I get it to the point where it will flip in, even if I do it slowly like that. And of course I'll go ahead and lubricate, service this machine fully, because it's in for servicing as well. So yeah, I thought I'd show you that. It's a potential issue, and as say, if you find one where it's stuck and you can't move this lever, sometimes you'll find you can't move this lever because this piece is completely seized up. That'll jam. I would get like a penetrating oil, say a WD-40 or a CRC, to free this up. You might want to put a little bit of heat on, not too much, just a very small amount of heat just to warm that up. Maybe even leave the machine in the sun, get it warm, and then work your way and try and free this up if it's completely seized. I see that quite a bit. That's the first thing I check on a machine like this. There's the other models, you know, the 830 that use this mechanism as well, Bernina 830. So this relates to those models as well. And if we have a look at the needle bar, I've got the stitch width on 0. You can see it's going down the center of the hole now. And full width here, that's on width 4, and everything looks in order there. It's coming down the left and the right sides of the throat plate hole there quite nicely, as it should. Okay, putting the lid back on is just a matter of lining up the sprig here down that hole in the back there, and then lining these levers up. That, make sure the lid sits down, and then just push down on the spring-loaded screws and 1/4 of a turn either way, and that's the lid back on again. Okay, so that's it for this one. Another fix there. I'll go ahead, as I say, and service this machine, and you can see there that we're happily working as it should there. So thanks very much for watching, and as always, thank you to my patrons on Patreon, and we'll see you in the next video.